every night before they went to bed, the little princesses prayed for their mama and papa. They prayed that God would give them wisdom and success. They prayed that they would be delivered from their difficulties and set free to live happy lives once again. They prayed a lot. They weren't allowed to go to church anymore, but they did pray, just as they had prayed for years, just as friends of theirs were praying, many of them, in many different places. And then, one morning, at 2 a.m, they were roughly awoken and led downstairs. They thought their guards might be transporting them to a new location. Instead, they were herded down into the basement, and few minutes later they were all lying dead in a room spattered with blood and heavy with gun smoke. So were the parents they had been praying for. Does God really answer prayer like the Bible says he does? Millions of people across the world will say that they have proved he's faithful, that God has never let them down. But as the Romanov family found out, the answer to our prayers isn't always yes, is it? Recently, some scientists have tried to calibrate the effects of prayer. In a number of very silly and very expensive experiments over the last few years, they have tried to measure whether prayer makes a difference or not. One group of patients in a hospital is prayed for, another group is not. Then the researchers try to work out whether the prayed for people have a better recovery rate than those who weren't prayed for. What have the results been? Mixed. At first there was great excitement because the prayed for people appeared to be doing so much better. But then the next experiment showed no difference between the two groups, and since then there's been no discernible pattern. But that's what you should expect. This whole procedure is just stupid, because prayer is not a neutral natural force which you can switch on like a gas cooker or an electric light bulb. It doesn't work blindly. Prayer is asking someone to take an action, and sometimes he's right to say no because he can see further ahead than we can. If God just said yes to every prayer you ever prayed, you would be living a pretty chaotic life in no time at all. Do you remember the old movie Bruce Almighty, where Bruce takes over from God for a while? He develops a piece of software that lets him cope with millions of prayer requests just by granting them all. Result? Instant chaos, instant unhappiness. Running the universe is a trickier job than sometimes appears. And so often God says no to prayers because there are other factors involved that we can't see. And sometimes we want things which are the direct opposite of what someone else needs. I can pray for sunny weather for a trip to the seaside, while a local farmer is about to go out of business because his crops are doing so badly, and so he's praying for rain in the same place on the same day. Only God can judge which needs are the most important ones to meet. There's also the fact that we live in a flawed universe. When humans rebelled against God, the whole mainspring of creation was somehow broken. And so God's good creation works in an unpredictable way. There are famines, floods, earthquakes and disasters that are no part of his original design, but happen because sin has disrupted the system. The Bible looks forward to a day when it will all be put right, when nature will work in the way that we all dream it should, when the lion will lie down with the lamb and there will be no suffering. But we aren't there yet. And in a world of hurt and pain, Christians aren't artificially shielded from the hardships that other people have to face. Whatever God brings to us in life, and however he answers our prayers, sorrow is always going to be a part of the mix somewhere. None of us can escape it. But when you've said all that, it's still the case that millions of people across the world rely on a God who can be trusted, whose answers to their prayers are regular, loving, and appropriate to their needs. Either they're all completely fooled and pinning their faith desperately on a non-existent Santa in the sky, or else they have stumbled upon somebody invisible but real who can offer genuine answers to human needs. Which is it? You decide.